Hello, everyone. NBA basketball is back. We are so back. And the Mavs spoiled Victor Wembanyama's debut last night, led by Luka's 33, 14, and 10, and Kyrie's 22 in total, but 10 in the fourth quarter, more importantly. Luka became the third player in NBA history to score a 30-point triple-double in a season opener, joining Giannis and Oscar Robertson. The beginning of this game was terrifying for me as a Mavs fan because the Spurs looked electric and went up double digits in the first quarter, which is like so typical Mavs to let that happen. And Devin Vassell was looking like he was worth every single penny of that extension he just signed like 2 weeks ago. But the Mavs brought themselves back into striking distance with like a tough and one by Grant Williams going into the second half. He played great tonight. It wasn't just his timely three-pointer with about 2 minutes left, but it was also his defense on Victor Wembanyama when he got switched onto him. Obviously, Victor struggled tonight. We'll get to that. But speaking of people who played great last night, talking about Grant Williams, and now we're talking about Derrick fucking Lively. He was just a force to be reckoned with last night. Had a couple of vicious dunks on pick and rolls with Luka, as well as a couple of great putbacks and like nice touches around the rim. He looked like a complete like rim running center. And this is his first game in the NBA. And I'm not going to say definitively because, we're one game in. Things can still go poorly, but we might have broken the Dwight Powell curse. We're the closest we've ever been from breaking the Dwight Powell curse, which would be an amazing thing to happen this early on in the season. Lively was 7 for 8 from the floor, 16 points, 10 rebounds, and an assist, and he was the difference in this game. Bro had a positive 20 plus minus. To think Jason Kidd started Derrick Jones over him to start this game. To be fair, in preseason, yes, he looks good in that last game when he had 14, but he didn't look this good. You know what I mean? I will say, though, the Mavs looked, I won't say significantly better on offense, but it did look slightly better. They had a couple off-ball sets for Luka to get open, which was like the first time I've ever seen him do that. They did a great job finding mismatches for him and Kyrie and getting the ball to open shooters, but that's what Luka does. Get into the paint, dribble, guy on his back, find the corner three. That is textbook Luka Doncic. But there was a period of time in the second quarter where we ran the same Spain pick and roll with Kyrie or Luka or Josh Green as the ball handler. 5 times in a row. 5 times. And I was like, this looks like last year's offense. We didn't run as many Spain pick and rolls last year, but just running the same offensive set 5 times down the floor, that is just unbelievably frustrating sometimes. And by the way, the Mavs won this game while shooting 32% from 3, which is a good statistic to hear if you're a Mavs fan. Also, an interesting little side note before we get to the Spurs side of things, not only did Dwight Powell get a DNP tonight, which crazy. So did Hardy and so did Omax. Powell is obviously self-explanatory, but Hardy is surprising because Hardaway was struggling in the second half, so I figured he might get some third quarter minutes. Omax kind of makes sense. He looked like a project in the preseason as compared to what he was in Summer League, which he looked much better in. So I doubt he gets a whole lot of run in the near future unless we're playing a lesser opponent like the Rockets or something. But we play the Nets tomorrow, and I doubt he gets any playing time. Okay, now on to the Spurs and Victor Wembanyama. Wemby got into some serious foul trouble this game from a lot of rookie mistakes. He had a really poor moving screen to get his 4th foul, which he was particularly frustrated about, and his 5th foul was week 2. I don't even know if it was really a foul on him, but that put him at just over 23 minutes he played in total, which is pretty brutal. He did come alive in the 4th quarter when he remembered he could actually just shoot the ball right over Grant Williams' head, but then the Spurs just iced him out. They didn't look for him again, even when he was open, which was odd. Outside of the oop at the beginning of the 4th and then that little turnaround over Grant Williams, I can't remember any other play. I know he had 4 or 5 other points in the 4th quarter, but I can't remember any other play where it was specifically designed for Victor to get a look. The ESPN and Instagram narrative that has been pushed, Twitter too, is about how he didn't get a shot up in the last 2.5 minutes, which yes, that's not great for your first overall pick who you think is a generational talent. And even though people are trashing on him, he had 15 points in 23 minutes on good efficiency, and he would have been much better if he didn't get into foul trouble. So if he doesn't get into foul trouble, that 15 points is easily 23, 25 maybe. And, this is his first NBA game. You got to remember that. This is his first NBA game. People are overreacting like crazy. If I told you a rookie had 15, 5, and 2 in 23 minutes in his first game, you'd be like, that's a really solid stat line for a rookie. And not only do people forget that he's a rookie, but I feel like they also forget that he's a rookie in the sense that Keldon Johnson averaged 22 points last year. Yes, he sucked tonight, and especially in crunch time, but he's proven that he can be that performer for this team. Now, how good of a performer he is, I mean, that's a debate because they won 22 games last year. But you have to go to him down the stretch. That's how the NBA works. In this case, it didn't work, and in the future, that might change. But I understand why what happened last night happened. Like, people think that Keldon Johnson is some bum that needs to be passing to Wemby on every possession. Yes, he probably should have given the ball up, and Vassell should have given the ball up more to Wembanyama to, alleviate some of that pressure on themselves. But down the stretch, Keldon Johnson was doing this all of last year and nobody was watching, but he was handling the ball down the stretch. He's just not going to suddenly decide that, oh, this guy needs the ball and he needs it now. That takes some development, that takes some feel, some getting used to playing with Wemby. And this is, again, the first game officially they've ever played with each other. So on the positive side for the Spurs, Zach Collins looked great tonight for stretches of this game. I will say I'm not sure why they were playing through him so much, but I guess who else are you going to play through when your first option in Keldon Johnson is cold? Vassell cooled off in the second half, and Wemby's in foul trouble, so what are you going to give it to Sohan? The Mavs were daring him to shoot anyway. Also, I like in 25 minutes how Trey Jones had 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists, but most importantly, only 1 turnover, and he had this nice, 3/4 of a court pass to get was it Malachi Branham or Keldon Johnson for an easy dunk in transition, and it was a tough pass. Something I thought that was odd about the rotation is there was no Champagne tonight, and I don't think he was injured either, so that's a little weird, but again, rotations, it's the first game of the season. Anyway, that's kind of the gist on the Spurs-Mavs game. There were 12 other games going on last night that I really didn't get to tune into, except the Bulls and Thunder game, and the Thunder handedly won this one, and then the Bulls had a players-only meeting after the first game of the season. That is game 1. That is a terrible sign. I get y'all got mopped, right? But what did we expect here? Something must have happened. I get they were arguing, and I understand probably tensions are high there because this is probably their make or break season. It should have been last year, but whatever. There's no way that a comparable team that has a chance of making damage in the playoffs is arguing with each other after a 20-point loss to the second youngest team in the NBA. I mean, that was the first game, bro. The literal first game. There's just no way. Anyway, that's just absolutely brutal. NBA basketball is back. I'm very, very excited. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Y'all take care. Have a good one.
Obviously, a lot of talk about the Spurs rookie, but what can you say about how your rookie impacted this game?
Amazing, man. I told him, man. I remember my first game, I was nervous. He didn't seem like being nervous, so he played fucking amazing.